Good morning from Melbourne, Australia. Good evening to friends in North America, and hello to anyone watching on replay. My name is Nancy Hetker, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Melbourne, Australia. And today I have some variations on a layout that you guys have seen before if you have been reading my blog or playing along with my mystery stamping in July. Hello, Paula. Thanks for joining me when you're on. Hello, Nikki. Please say hello so I know who is here with me. On my blog today and yesterday, anyway, in the last couple days, you will have seen these cards on my blog and Instagram and Facebook. And these are the same layout. It's the first card that I did in my July mystery stamping session. Hello, Kayla. Thanks for joining me, and Joyce. And it's exactly the same. It's just uses different designer series paper and different stamps and different cardstock in the back. And I wanted to show you why having these layouts all set to go, and if you download my mystery stamping directions that are on my website, I will put a link in the comments of this video. You'll get all of the measurements for the basic pieces in centimeters and inches, and then you're ready to go when you need to make a card, and you can just use your imagination about which paper you want to use, which stamp set you want to use, which cardstock, etc. So these were the two I made for the mystery stamping session, and I wanted to show you some other things that I came up with just this morning as I was preparing for this video. For this one, I pulled out a piece of the Beauty of the Earth designer series paper. You can see I have my basic white thick cardstock base, a basic white layer that goes on designer series paper, and I went ahead and chose the cinnamon cider to mat under the piece that I'm going to be stamping. So I think I'll start with some stamping. And I've got Cinnamon Cider and Mossy Meadow and the Beauty of Friendship. That's part of this Beauty of the Earth suite. Does it fit on this one? Yes. No. So there's that one. And then these two. And these are two-step stamping stamps, and one has a little bit fuller leaf color, and one has a little bit less full. And I have, besides getting an idea of what I wanted to do, I have not played with this at all, so there'll be a little bit of figuring out as I go. So yes, the designer series paper is really pretty. And excuse me, I'm going to ink up in Cinnamon Cider, and I'm using my piercing mat underneath because the clear stamps don't have any cushioning the way the red rubber stamps do, so we get a better impression when we do this. And you know me, I like to clean my stamps right away, because otherwise I wind up dropping it or dropping something on it and getting ink where I don't want it. And then I'm going to stamp fuller one. I'm stamping sideways, well, stamp sideways for the tree because I felt I could see to center it better, but I think I may stamp this way. And this stamp is made so that it's got, I think you can see, bring it up here. It's got, it makes two tones in and of itself, which is pretty cool. I'm trying to decide if I'm just going to leave it like that, which I may do. Or I think I'm going to pull in the bumblebee. A little bit of that in there. That was Mossy Meadow. So I think you can see there. Yeah. Yeah. And then I keep waiting for the lag on my Facebook feed to show me what you're seeing. And then this is Bumblebee. We're just going to put some, I guess highlights you might call it. Anyways, just some other color leaves in there. You don't see a lot of it, but that's okay. It just gives it some dimension, I think. I'll pull this one up again so you can see it. There you go. Okay. Now, this sketch calls for a little bit of ribbon. To go around the center of the Designer Series paper. You know me, I like to use my sticky tape for that. I cut that a little bit long, but that's okay. Go. Get that out of the way. So that goes on kind of the center of this piece. Come here. Yes, red or orange would make it a little more fall. You could do like all, instead of, you could leave off the green altogether and make it even more fall. This is kind of like the beginning of fall, or autumn as we say here. I'm going to use some dimensionals, pop that up. that goes on this. This you could either pop up or do flat. I'm going to do flat on this one, just because. And I'm still thinking about whether I'm going to put a sentiment on there. I have lots of these little strips from when I cut down my cardstock. I think I'm going to go with the Thinking of You. I'm going to do it in the Mossy Meadow. I did manage to fling it off somewhere. Of course I did. Now I've managed to lose it. Oh, nope, there it is. It's right underneath there. See? Look at that. Silly me. I had one of those nights where I was so tired I went to bed early. And then I woke up in the middle of the night. And I just could not get back to sleep. I think we're going to trim that down a little bit more. Actually, I've held on to this retired punch because it's so useful for flagging. Going in the back side. And I know we have that, what is it, Banner's Pick-a-Punch. Yeah. This one. But for this little bitty piece that fits in the other, I think that's just easier. Yeah. Some dimensionals there. There we go. There's card number 1. And I'm going to take a moment to put a few stamps away. Have you guys been enjoying looking at the mini catalog and figuring out what you're doing to get your celebration products? Big silence. I've got another order that just shipped last night. Our distribution center here in, or warehouse, whatever they call it here, here in the South Pacific, up by Sydney, they had a COVID case that shut them down for several days, and then when they've been able to come back, they've been on with limited staff because people have had to quarantine and isolate and so on and so forth. So they're a little behind in getting stuff out. But mine did ship last night, so I should get it in a few more days. Okay, So this time I chose this piece of Designer Series paper out of Pattern Party, which is, I keep using it because it's so versatile, and I wanted to show you guys, make sure you knew where it was, because it's not with all the Designer Series paper because it is a host product. So when you place an order and you get Stampin' Rewards, you can use some. Here in Australia it's $31 to get this Pattern Party 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. And one side is all these wonderful bright prints and the other side is black and white prints. So I've used it a lot. And it's 48 sheets, so it's going to last you a really long time. And it's got all kinds of great colors in it. Crushed Curry, Flirty Flamingo, Granny Apple Green, Misty Moonlight, Pale Papaya, Petal Pink, Pool Party, and Poppy Parade. So I've been loving it. It's very cheerful and bright, and yeah, it's good stuff, I think. So I have pulled out a piece of this paper. I had originally thought I was going to use this side, but I changed my mind. Although I do think I could do something pretty neat with that, and now I'm rethinking myself again. But I'm committing to this because I've already cut my Flirty Flamingo. And there's a bit of ribbon for there. And once again, just tape it onto the back. I do that with 99% of my ribbons. And I like using the sticky tape because it's cheap. I don't have to worry about, you know, if I use tape runner, then I'm left with sticky where I don't necessarily want it. I think a glue dot makes too much of a bump, blah, blah, blah. So I think sticky tape is a good way to go. And I got a little bit stuck on me there. Okay. Yeah, so there's that. Gonna go on there. And, oh, here's my 1% exception. Now, I know this is retired, but this braided trim here, it's so thick that if I turned it under, it would just be too thick, but it does a really nice job to cut it off flush with the Designer Series paper. So that's what I did with this. You can see I did not wrap it around. But, you know, anything that's thin, no problem, just wrapped right around. Yeah, so I'm going to use this Celebrate with Flowers. And I like this vertical set. And I haven't played too much with it yet, but I didn't pull my colors here. Let's do that. I'm actually going to start with a happy birthday sentiment. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that in Misty Moonlight. I'm kind of thinking this up as I go along here. Oh, that is not so straight. Let's see what we get here. There we go. There's one. And two. So the dimensions are available on my mystery stamping from July supply list, which is available in my store. It's on my last couple days of blog posts that have these cards, and I will post another link in my blog to this. So if you download this, you will get card number 1 from my mystery stamping in July is this layout, and it's in centimeters and inches. Yeah, so now I need to decide flower colors. I think we'll go with Flirty Flamingo. And you can see I'm just eyeballing all of this. Okay, put this one together. And again, basically centered. Yeah, I'm doing a little hemming and hawing here. I've got an extra bit of white here. I'm going to experiment here again. Bear with me. So this time I'm pulling in some Poppy Parade instead of the Flirty Flamingo, at least for one flower. Let's see how we go. that better, I think. So you can see here, there's with the there are two things that I wasn't so happy about with this. One was just so much Flirty Flamingo. And two was that I didn't leave enough space to get that flower on, and so it's overlapping the stem too much, I think. So with this one, I like the slightly deeper color because it pulls out with that more. Yep, I'm just happier with that overall. So, goodbye. Oh, see you later, Joyce. I hope you get your electricity back soon. Yeah, sometimes you just don't know until you play with it. Which, fortunately, is easy to do when it's paper and ink. I used to quilt, or I was attempting to do some quilting, and it's much more fraught when you're dealing with fabric than paper. It's just much more expensive proposition. Let's put it that way. To change your mind and decide to start over. This one I'm going to pop up twice, I think. As in pop up this big layer and then pop up the focal point as well. And I'm just clipping up the edges of the sheet of dimensionals. It gives me slightly bigger than these mini ones. And then you use them and don't waste them because it's perfectly good stuff. And that might need a little sparkle, I'm not sure. Let's see what we've got. Maybe a couple of these blue ones. What do we think? I don't know. Yes, dimensionals come in a regular and a mini size. And yes, you use them on, I use them on almost every card, although I seem to go through times when, you know what, I'm rethinking this and thinking maybe no, but it may be too late. Let's see. I use them a lot, and it's one of those things that differentiates from, well, at least the last time I looked at commercial cards. The commercial cards are almost always pretty flat, and this just, you know, I changed my mind. So here we go. That's why I didn't push them down really hard to start with, because I wasn't sure. I like it better like that, I think. Okay, so there goes card number 2, and card number 3 should be much faster. I have pulled out for my Designer Series paper from Celebration. Find it here. And for those of you who don't know, Celebration happens, well, this year it was twice, for 2 months. With a qualifying purchase, you can pick items out of this little brochure for free. And one of the things that I chose was this Peaceful Prints 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. And I am using 2 bits from one sheet. You can see it's, and this one I cut this panel a little bit differently to accommodate the design on the paper. So this piece is the same size as we've been using, but this one is narrower, just because I didn't want to get part of a leg of another deer on there. So, but that's just fine. And so I brought in some red ribbon to put on there. And I'm having trouble keeping track of which red ribbon is still current and which one's retired, so it doesn't really matter. Goes on there. And then this I'm just going to adhere on. Black. Yeah, this is me being too lazy to walk across the room and pick up another sheet of the full-size dimensionals, to be honest. Although I would use these anyway. Sometimes what's really nice is to be able to use these edges to cut down really, really small and skinny on something. And then sometimes it's just nice to be able to get nice big chunks, like so. And then we're going to need a greeting. We'll pull in our real red for that, I think. It's okay. Let's see if we can get a little more centered on the strip. There we go. So I kind of want to cover up that white spot, but I don't really want it. It's just all kind of lined up there with his head. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with that. As if it were made for it. Look at that. It's amazing what you find in your scrap basket. I like it offset like that. There, and now I think this does need some sparkle. Where's my doohickey here? Right in the center of each snowflake. There's that one. That I'm happy with. Can you see how that turned out with these sparklies? So you could see how this, you could really get into a production line if you wanted with some holiday cards. You know, cut out a strip of these, cut them to size, cut out that one. Oh my goodness. There we go. Yeah, sit down and assemble, you know, stamp out a bunch of these, cut them to size. Okay, that is what I have for you today. There we go. Those are the 3 I did today. And the 2 I did previously. And then there's one more thing I want to show you guys. I have a class coming up at the end of August featuring the Counting Sheep and the sheep dies. This is Counting Sheep, which you can get free with a $90 purchase here in Australia, and the sheep dies, which are also free with a $90 purchase. So you'd have to order $180 to get both of those. And then I am offering a class with a kit to make these 6 cards with this bundle. And it also uses a bunch of the Pattern Party paper. We'll do this way, 4, 5, 6. They are just so fun, and they're fun to put together. So if you're in the Melbourne area and we can meet in person, you can come and do the class at my place. And then it doesn't matter whether you own the sheep stamps and dies. If you have the sheep stamps and dies and you're in Australia, I'm happy to sell you a kit to assemble these cards. And if you're in the US and you're interested in this or anywhere else, get in touch with me and I will either point you the right direction or we'll work something out to get you the directions to make these. I haven't quite figured out how I would handle that one yet, but it is certainly doable. So yes, these are very adorable. I had a lot of fun making them, a lot of fun. And there's some technique involved in getting these guys that are mirror image. Yeah, it's very fun. So I hope you will find that on my website. I'll try to put a link up to where that is as well. So you guys can get a kit or come do the class with me. And I'm just hoping at some point this month we'll be able to get together in person. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be for my class this weekend, but people will be able to do it by kit. And my monthly medley class that's scheduled for next weekend. Again, I think it's going to wind up being by kit, but I'm ready to go with that once they make an announcement, probably today or tomorrow, about what's going to be happening for the next week or so. So if you're in Australia and would like to get a kit to play along with that class, we'll do it on Zoom. We can definitely do that. Just let me know ASAP so I can get it in the mail to you. And yeah, that's what I have. I thank you for joining me. Come back same time, same place next week, and we will do some more crafting together. Oh, I know what else. Friday morning in Australia, 10 a.m. That would be Thursday evening for those of you in North America. I'm doing a social crafting session again, and I will be sure to put on the blog post for the cards I made today, but it's also on my class page on my blog, nancysniftynotes.com, the Zoom link to join me either Thursday evening or Friday morning, depending on where you are located. Friday morning here in Australia, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I will see you then, and then I will see you again next week, 10 a.m. Wednesday morning, Australia Eastern Time. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.